The story begins with a boy named Charlie, whose mother was romantically involved with a terrorist named Uncle Chinera. Meanwhile, a boy named Louis Booker wanders behind Charlie with a metal detector. Louis is using the metal detector to collect loose change. After a brief exchange of words, they part ways. At the same time, a troublemaker named Frank throws Charlie's ball into the water. While trying to retrieve the ball, Charlie begins to drown. On the other side, Louis sees Charlie drowning and risks its life to save him, thus becoming his best friend. The story then jumps 20 years ahead, where Charlie is running a barbershop. However, 80% of the earnings from the shop are taken by his stepfather's Uncle Chinara's goons. During this time, Louis, now fully grown, approaches Charlie and asks, "Charlie, come on, I need to deliver some TVs." Charlie replies, "No, friend, I can't come today. I have too much work." Louis then says, "20 years ago, I was busy too, but I still saved your life." Hearing this, Charlie feels guilty and agrees to help. As they drive a truck loaded with TVs, the police begin chasing them, as the truck is stolen. When they see the police, Louis quickly speeds up, causing chaos on the road. After a wild chase, they barely manage to reach the place where they were supposed to deliver the TVs. However, upon opening the truck, they find none of the TVs are in one piece. Charlie learns that these TVs belong to his stepfather, Uncle Chinera, and they are filled with drugs. At that moment, the police arrive and raid the entire warehouse, taking control. Louis and Charlie somehow manage to escape by going through a tunnel and falling into a nearby river, escaping the police. Meanwhile, Uncle Chinera, furious about his lost goods, summons Charlie and Louis to his hideout. With a look of anger, he says, "Charlie, after your father's sudden death, I promised your mother I would raise you like a lion. But you turned out to be nothing but a scared little rat." Despite his anger, Uncle Chinera gives them one last chance to make up for their mistake. He hands them an envelope and orders them to travel to Australia to deliver it to a gangster named Mr. Smith. Meanwhile, Louis Booker's hands itch badly, and he tries to open the envelope. Just then, one of Uncle Chinara's goons catches him and twists his ear as a warning. They catch an Indigo flight and head to Australia. On the plane, Louis, being the foodie that he is, brought a handful of snacks with him, which he begins munching on. While Charlie goes to the restroom, Louis can't resist and opens the envelope. To his shock, it contains $50 million. His mouth falls open in disbelief. He rushes straight to the restroom to inform Charlie. As they exit the restroom together, two women see them, misinterpret the situation, and burst out laughing, causing them both embarrassment. Louis quickly hides the cash inside his jacket, and at the airport, no one suspects him because of his innocent appearance. However, Charlie is mistaken for a smuggler, and the police thoroughly interrogate him before letting him go. Now free, the two rent a car and drive through the Australian streets, searching for Mr. Smith to deliver the money. On their way, they accidentally run over a kangaroo. After killing the seemingly helpless kangaroo, they don't feel bad and instead decide to dress it up in Charlie's jacket and sunglasses for a fun photo. But to their surprise, the kangaroo comes back to life. Louis freaks out as the kangaroo delivers a powerful kick to Charlie's chest and then hops away, taking the cash-filled jacket with it. At first, they burst out laughing at the absurdity of the situation, but soon Louis realizes, "Charlie, that kangaroo just ran off with all the money." Charlie stares at him in disbelief and asks, "What are you talking about?" Louis replies, "I put all the money in that jacket, and now the kangaroo is wearing it and running away with it." Realizing they've just lost $50 million to a wild kangaroo, they immediately jump into the car and speed after it. They manage to catch up, but before they can grab the kangaroo, they crash the car into a ravine, leaving it completely totaled. Now stranded, they continue on foot. They eventually find their way to a roadside bar and order beers to drown their sorrows. Meanwhile, Louis sneaks off to make a call from payphone. He lies to Mr. Smith, saying, "Mr. Smith, we're going to be a little late. The traffic is crazy." Mr. Smith, clearly unimpressed, responds, "You bloody idiots. If you don't come in." Mr. Smith threatens to kill them and their friend if they don't deliver the money within 10 minutes. After hearing this, Louis's face tenses up, but he doesn't tell Charlie about the threat. After leaving the bar, Louis is drinking water from a tap when he meets a woman named Jessie, who works with animals. He opens up about their problems and asks her to help them catch the kangaroo. Jesse suggests they could use a bush plane to tranquilize the kangaroo from the sky and take the money back. Meanwhile, inside the bar, Charlie is with a drunk man named Blue, who is getting progressively more intoxicated and eventually stumbles and falls. Lewis goes to Charlie and explains the plan to him, how they'll capture the kangaroo. To fly the bush plane, they need a pilot, and Jesse gives Lewis the pilot's personal number. However, when Lewis calls the number, the call connects to a drunk man, who unknowingly orders a hit on both of them. Soon, from the bush plane, they spot the kangaroo wearing the red jacket. Lewis aims the tranquilizer gun at the kangaroo's rear end, but mistakenly shoots the drunk man in the neck instead. Slowly, the man's body begins to stiffen, and death seems imminent. However, Charlie manages to gain control of the plane and lands it in a desert. The drunk pilot starts repairing the broken radio to call for help, while Lewis confesses to Charlie. "Charlie, I'm sorry, my friend. I lied to you. Actually, Mr. Smith said if we don't return the money soon, he'll chop us into pieces and feed us to the crocodiles." Now, they have no choice but to catch the kangaroo to save their lives. The two continue wandering the desert, searching for the kangaroo. Meanwhile, Frank has arrived in Australia and meets a man, asking him where he can find a gun. The man leads him to a place where he can get one. Back in the desert, Charlie and Lewis encounter a pack of wild, vicious dogs that are eager to devour them. Suddenly, a strong wind blows, scaring the dogs away. Lewis, relieved, thinks it's just a breeze, but little does he know, it's actually a tornado, which sweeps him off his feet and throws him far away. Without food or water, Charlie and Lewis continue to wander aimlessly in the desert, desperate to find the kangaroo. Charlie, still disoriented from the heat and exhaustion, sees a jeep in front of him. However, he soon realizes it's just a figment of his imagination. Lewis tries to explain it to him, but instead, Charlie ends up getting into an argument with Lewis. As they continue their journey, Charlie spots a woman riding a horse approaching them. Mistaking her for another mirage, he grabs her breasts. The woman, who turns out to be Jesse, slaps him hard across the face. Once Charlie regains his senses, Jesse gives him some camel milk juice. The next day, the three of them, Charlie, Lewis, and Jesse, ride camels and head out to find the kangaroo with the money. They reach a waterfall where they create a trap by tying ropes together to catch the kangaroo. Meanwhile, Frank, along with his hired goons, has arrived in the desert, intent on killing Charlie and Lewis. The three of them spot the kangaroo with the money, and they begin their pursuit. During the chase, Lewis steps into an anthill, and as ants crawl up his legs, he becomes frantic, causing the kangaroo to flee. This ruins their plan. While Jesse is bathing in the waterfall, Charlie approaches her and tries to kiss her. Jesse doesn't refuse, as she's also feeling the heat, but suddenly, Lewis, being a third wheel, interrupts them, and they all continue their journey. Later, as the three of them rest under the shade of a tree, Mr. Smith and his goons show up, demanding the money. Lewis recounts how the kangaroo, wearing his jacket full of money, ran away, and Mr. Smith, enraged, decides to kill them. At this point, Jesse offers a proposal to Mr. Smith. She promises to help him find the kangaroo in exchange for letting Charlie and Lewis go. Mr. Smith agrees and takes her along to search for the kangaroo. Meanwhile, Frank and his goons have tied Charlie and Lewis to camels and are leading them away. However, using their wits, the two manage to free themselves and hold the goons at gunpoint. They then rush to rescue Jesse from Mr. Smith. Just as this happens, Frank arrives with his goons, having been sent by Charlie's stepfather, Cha-Cha China, to kill them. Charlie, thinking Frank is one of his own men, lowers his gun, but Frank is there to kill him. Taking advantage of the chaos, the three of them jump on their camels and escape. On their way, Lewis spots the kangaroo and manages to snatch the $50 million from his pocket. However, in the process, he falls into a ditch. Seeing him in danger, Charlie and Jesse quickly take off their belts, tie them together to make a rope, and somehow manage to save him. Meanwhile, Frank and his hired goons arrive at the scene. Frank tells Charlie that his stepfather, Cha-Cha China, has always wanted to kill him because he is his stepson. However, due to marrying Charlie's mother, Cha-Cha China couldn't openly harm him. So, Cha-Cha China sent Frank to kill Charlie. As Frank approaches to kill him, the police arrive and arrest Frank. In the final scene of the movie, we see that Charlie has married the girl, Jessie, and together with Lewis, they've used the $50 million to start a massive company. With their new wealth, the three of them enjoy life aboard a personal yacht, having the time of their lives.